All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to systematically deconstruct an anonymous expert report that answers a really frustrating question. Why do highly skilled professionals keep failing to get their merit-based petitions approved? If you're applying for a highly competitive professional status, you probably think you know exactly how to prove your worth, right? Well, prepare to have your assumptions challenged. This data-driven analysis of over 1,300 real-world cases reveals a massive, fundamental disconnect between the subjective praise applicants think evaluators want and the strict, objective analytical mechanisms those agencies actually use to make their decisions. To do that, we're mapping out the precise analytical mechanics of these evaluations. We'll move logically from the root cause of most denials, what we call the great employee trap, to analyzing the actual evaluation mechanisms, breaking down the 5 essential criteria for success, and finally, looking at how to ensure evaluator independence. First up, the great employee trap. We've got to dismantle a very common yet totally non-obvious assumption about what actually makes a strong recommendation letter. Take a listen to this statement. She is dedicated, hardworking, and an invaluable member of her team. Now, on the surface, that sounds like fantastic professional praise, doesn't it? It's exactly what you want in a performance review. But here's the kicker. Adjudicating authorities give this type of language almost zero weight. In the context of a merit-based petition, it's essentially useless. So why is that? The fundamental problem, the core disconnect here, is that these letters simply describe the petitioner's personality traits rather than proving the actual broader impact of their work. There's a rigid analytical mechanism happening behind the scenes. Evaluators aren't trying to figure out if you're a pleasant coworker or a solid hire. They require objective proof that what you do actively shifts the needle in your wider industry. Character praise is speculative. Impact evidence is scientific. To put that into perspective, data patterns from over 1,300 analyzed cases reveal that almost 40% of letter-related denials stem entirely from this exact mistake. Almost 4 out of 10 rejections happen simply because the letters describe the petitioner's value solely to their immediate employer or their clients, and literally nothing else. Evaluators read those and think, okay, great, this person is valuable to their company. But the mechanism of approval requires impact far beyond company walls. If you rely on internal company value, you're stepping right into that 39% trap. This brings us to analyzing those evaluation mechanisms. Let's look under the hood at the implicit assumptions evaluating agencies actually use when reviewing your documents. There is a stark contrast between merely saying you're good at your job and scientifically proving what your creations actually achieved. Describing the applicant relies on adjectives, whereas proving impact relies on tangible outcomes. If a letter writer claims you made significant contributions, but totally fails to mention exactly what those contributions were, who they reached, or what fundamentally changed because of them, well, the evaluating agency essentially has to throw that letter out. They just can't verify an adjective. And that brings us to a crucial definition. Evaluators do not question that you are valuable to your boss, but to satisfy the actual mechanism of approval, your work must demonstrate national importance. It must have broad, field-wide impact. This means your work produces value that reaches people, organizations, or systems far beyond your immediate professional circle. If you build a tool and only your company uses it to boost their profit margins, that isn't broad impact. That's just doing your job well. Evaluators are looking for systemic change. This comparison brilliantly illustrates the difference. The generic endorsement is an uncheckable opinion, while the verifiable evidence provides concrete proof of industry-wide impact. Look closely at that second example. It names a specific creation, the underlying method. It shows exactly who benefited outside the company, researchers at 3 other institutions. It's a verifiable fact that an adjudicator can literally just look up. It's the same person, the same work, but a completely different structural approach to the letter. So, having identified the mechanisms of denial, let's establish the actionable criteria-based solution. Here are the 5 essential criteria required for a successful submission. According to the expert analysis, every successful letter should be rigorously audited against this specific 5-point structural framework. Now, not every single letter needs all 5 of these, but every letter needs at least the first 3, and your overall package of letters absolutely must cover all 5. Let's break this down. First, name a specific contribution, not just a skill, but a concrete thing you built or discovered. Second, identify exactly who benefits outside your employer. Third, draw a direct line from your past work to proposed endeavor. Fourth, include checkable facts, think citations, patents, or awards. And fifth, secure an independent perspective. The bottom line here is that if your letter cannot name a specific tool you built or explain who outside your office actually uses it, it is fundamentally failing at its job. Actually, let's pause on that third point about the proposed endeavor, because the data reveals a really fascinating blind spot. A surprising 12% of denied cases occurs simply because the letters look backward at past achievements without deliberately bridging them to the applicant's proposed future endeavor. You can't just prove you were great in the past. Your letters must explicitly draw a direct, logical line from the foundation of your past work right to what you are proposing to do in the future. I absolutely love this quote from the expert report. Opinions are advisory, facts are evidence. Immigration adjudicators view adjectives as mere speculation. You have to replace them with verifiable data like citation counts, adoption metrics, or patents. Think of it this way. If you can swap out your name in the letter for any other professional in your industry and the letter still makes sense, it's way too generic. It needs to contain facts unique to your specific creations. Moving to ensuring evaluator independence. We really need to understand that the structural integrity of your petition relies heavily on exactly who provides this evidence. This is an implicit mechanism that so many applicants completely overlook. This categorization is absolutely vital. Dependent writers, like your bosses, clients, and colleagues, they confirm you're great at your job. But independent writers, like outside researchers or industry leaders, they confirm your work genuinely matters to the entire industry. Evaluating agencies naturally expect your boss to say good things about you. They literally rely on your success. Because of that bias, letters from your immediate circle are fundamentally seen as proving basic job competence, not broader field impact. Independent letters carry the ultimate credibility because the evaluator provides an objective assessment without any professional or financial bias. You should treat an independent letter writer exactly like an independent expert witness in a court of law. They're there strictly to evaluate the evidence, not to do a favor for a friend. They don't know you personally, they haven't worked with you, so their honest assessment of your work's footprint provides the absolute strongest signal to evaluators that your work has true, verifiable significance. So I want to leave you with the ultimate question. Do your recommendation letters prove your industry impact, or are they just proving your employment? It's a subtle but massive distinction. I highly encourage you to look critically at your own materials, apply this analytical framework, and ensure you're providing exactly what the evaluators require. Don't fall into the great employee trap. Give them the evidence they need to definitively prove your worth. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.